Now you're very welcome along to another RTÉ Rugby podcast, and for this pod I'm delighted to be joined by Munster and Ireland wing Andrew Conway, who's here in association with Budweiser, official beer partner of the Lingus College Football Classic, which is returning to the Aviva Stadium on the 26th of August in a couple of weeks' time. Notre Dame against Navy. And a few weeks ago, Andrew was joined by Sarah Rowe, Dean Rock and kicking coach Tig Leader to test out their American football skills in the Budweiser Combine ahead of the game. So, Andrew, tell us, the Budweiser Combine. Anyone who follows a bit of NFL around here, they have a rough idea what the Combine is ahead of the draft. What sort of stuff were you doing? Glorified school sports day, is it?
Pretty much. It was, so we had one punting competition. So kind of similar to, obviously the lads punting at the start. We weren't looking for like that height, but we kind of had targets about 40 yards away in the point system. Then there was a 40-yard dash, which I didn't actually take part in because it would have taken me about half an hour to warm up properly to put in a decent shift. So the guy from Lad Bible took my place there, and he put in a tremendous effort and came out with a respectable score. And then we went into goal kicking, and that was not a good performance from my point of view. So my punting was my strength. I wasn't involved in the sprints, and I let myself down massively in the goal kicking. So a mixed bag.
That's all right. That's all right. So there's no late career move to American football going on. You're happy where you are for now.
Happy out, mate. Yeah, no chance.
I suppose just in general, how are you? Obviously, it's been a while since we've got to see you. I remember just under 12 months ago at the URC launch, I was chatting to you that day, and you were obviously hoping to be back by around the end of October from that knee injury. And obviously, it was a tough season. There were a couple of setbacks along the way, and we're hoping to see you back soon. Mm-hmm. First of all, then just how are you? How are you in the comeback? Like if there was a game in the next couple of weeks, a preseason game, would you be ready to go?
Yeah, ready to go now, thankfully. It's been a long journey, complex journey, I suppose is probably the word that sticks out. There was two knee surgeries, one in June and one in January. Probably between June and January was the toughest time. There was signs that we were going in the right direction, but I didn't have any experience in a pretty big operation and the recovery and what it should feel like. I've loads and loads of experience in being fit and dealing with knocks and pushing through them and sucking it up at times and taking a risk here and there and playing through pain and having a bit of a gamble at times, and sometimes that does work, sometimes it doesn't. But between surgery 1 and surgery 2, is just probably just never got to a place where we put in a good body of work where it's 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, and we're kind of building as we went. There was always a couple of weeks good, maybe a bad week, a good week, and then 2 bad weeks. And I was probably in a bit of denial about how that was going, I suppose. If I reflect back on it, I thought whenever it was sore at times, I just suck it up and get through it. And a big learning is that whenever you've got a proper injury, particularly of the knee, that you got to respect the body. The body's telling you what's going on, and if you're not experienced enough or if you're not listening to it and respecting it, you might, some days you suck it up and you get through what you need to get through, but you pay a price. You pay a price, particularly with the knee injury after a knee surgery. So that was tough, there's no doubt about it. But since the second operation, almost immediately I felt way better. Some of the low level movements that I got straight into were clear, and they hadn't been clear for 6 months, 8 months, even going back to the Six Nations of 2022. I was dealing with knee pain consistently from that kind of from the start of that Six Nations to January, and then I was like, oh, lovely, this I think that's worked. You know what I mean? So yeah, listen, it's been tough, but it's been a great time personally for me. We had our daughter arrive in March of 22 as well, and she's essentially, her lifespan has been my injury lifespan. So I've been blessed in that regard, because I've been able to put things in perspective be around my daughter for her whole life up to this point. You know, it's been tough missing big tours and you know, winning Grand Slams and going to South Africa and winning on the road and winning the RTÉ the hard way. But you know, you put things in perspective, and life is bigger than rugby, and you know, to be around her for her whole life up to this point has been a massive blessing. And you know, it's whenever you're dealing with these tough times, you got to try and frame them as best you can without, you know, going away from reality. You got to frame them as best you can to make sure that your head is dealing with things as good as you can be. And that's been an easy one to be able to look at her every day and be around her has been huge. Because if you know, if this was 3-4 years ago and she wasn't here, and there was nothing, it would be tougher to put things in that perspective. So listen, it is what it is. The first massive chunk of rugby that I've missed. You know, I've had a few low level injuries over the years, but I've never missed anything more than, you know, I think I had an ankle surgery back in 2010 or something like that. A few concussions, a few low level muscle injuries, and so I've definitely learned a lot, and you know, going forward, like it will definitely stand to me, you know, both in how I go about my rugby and how I go about my life after rugby.
You said that straight after you had that second operation that you kind of instantly felt a lot better. Is part of that mentally feeling better, where I don't know, maybe I'm kind of guessing here, but throughout the recovery, first of all, maybe you were looking at blocks of weeks and thinking, okay, if I can get back in 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 4 weeks, and trying to set little markers. But was it a case where after the second operation you were told you're not going to play for the rest of the season? Get that out of your head. And was it a case where just working along that, you know, you knew there was a long path ahead and it was just about getting on with it?
A bit of both. I think you can't get away, first of all, from the physical feelings. You know, the knee will either be really sore in positions or it won't be. And the signs after that second one were that it was that whatever was done in there was done, you know, and done well. So like that immediately gave me a big boost. And I think, you know, if we just reverse back to the first surgery, when the knee, particularly a knee, isn't going well, and we're trying to push through it and find ways to, you know, get through movements in the gym to strengthen it, then to ultimately get out of the pitch and move. And whenever it's not playing ball, and, you know, the mistakes that I was making was, you know, trying to push through it, all loads of other things start getting sore in your body because you're not moving correctly. So my back took a massive hit for a long time. That was, you know, more debilitating than the knee. And you just get fatigued with pain, you know, pain on a daily basis. You know, I can't imagine what chronic pain is over a long period of time, because I had my fair share of knee pain and back pain, and I have a toe injury, a big toe injury that gives me a bit of grief. And whenever your body's sore all over constantly, you know, when you wake up in the morning and it's a struggle to put your shoes on and socks on, and then you're going in, you're trying to navigate your way around knee pain and get your back loose. Like it's really fatiguing, and I wasn't prepared for that level of pain and fatigue. I think, you know, it was really tough, and I didn't listen to my body enough. I didn't listen to my body and go, my back, I can't bend over, you know, in the mornings, or I can't put my shoes and socks on in the mornings in less than 2 minutes. I need to pull back here. And, you know, that actually comes back to me, to be honest with you, because it wasn't the medical staff. You know, they were trying to pull me back, and I was trying to push them on, you know. So you got to take self accountability for it. And again, I'd no experience in a big rehabilitation, and if I was to pass on a bit of advice to, you know, guys who were going through that for the first time, it would be to, you know, to talk more and to understand your body more and respect your body more, because your body's telling you exactly what it's feeling. But at times it's hard to separate your mentality from your physicality, and they both need to be singing the same song, or else you're just, you know, you're just chipping away at the scab.
Yeah, and I presume, like, it's an incredibly understandable reaction, obviously, to be trying to push through it when you're in a situation where Munster were going on a bloody hell of a journey. At times it was a really difficult journey, and it ended up being a great one. And then also at the same time, in the back of your mind, you're trying to get back for a World Cup as well. On Munster specifically, like, that just was one hell of a journey that you ended up having a front row seat for over the course of a season.
Yeah.
In pre-season now at the moment, has everyone kind of come back in with is it a different atmosphere in there coming into this pre-season that there has been in previous years, where all of a sudden you're coming in off the back of a successful campaign with a trophy?
Yeah, definitely. It's a funny one because the fact that it's falling in a World Cup pre-season too. We're missing, I think, 11 guys, 9 up with Ireland, 2 with South Africa. So you get a whole host of young lads who wouldn't, be on the pitch with us if those 11 bodies were there, which is great because the coaches in Munster now are top level, and you guys know that because you see the rugby that we were playing when we got it, when we understood what they were telling us to do and how they were coaching, how we were reviewing. So for the young boys now who are coming in and they're coming off schools rugby, or they're first or second year academy, they're being coached to a ridiculously high standard and level. And what we're looking at, in most impressive thing for me last year was I wasn't out on the pitch. I was rehabbing, or I was in the gym, or I was doing something else, but I'd be in a lot of the meetings. And it really reminded me of the meetings that we'd have under Andy Farrell and the guys in camp. The way they were looking at the game, it wasn't like, who was on the ball and who hit the breakdown. There's so much more to the game of rugby than that. Off the ball work, what you're doing, what your body language is, how quick you're getting up off the ground. That was the coaching level. So when I was sitting there, I was going, this is brilliant. And I knew that we were going to get it. But some of the guys last year hadn't been fortunate enough to be coached at that really, really high standard before. And it's not taken away from the coaches in the past. It's the best in the world, and it's the best I've ever experienced. And I've had some unbelievable coaches at Rassie and Joe, and obviously now Faz and Wig, and the guys in Munster are top level. So for the young boys to get in now and have the confidence that we've just won a trophy, and now to see what it takes to win a trophy, and see the effort and the detail it takes every day is brilliant for the province. And there's an amazing crop of young guys coming through that have just been on the 20s journey, and even the guys below that, some lads coming out of school are really impressive in training. So yeah, it's exciting times for Munster for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, it certainly looks it. Just final couple of points to ask you about. You spent a few days in the Irish camp a few weeks back over the summer. It must be reassuring, as tough as the year has been. It must be reassuring to get that call from Andy Farrell to come in and just to know that you're still part of the general plans.
Yeah, definitely. It's been a while since I've been in there. I was actually up in the HBC in Blanchardstown a fair bit, doing a bit of rehab with a new guy, Einar, that had come in to specialize in longer term injuries. So I'd been in camp without being in camp. I wasn't in all the gear. I was in my Adidas gear and kind of on the periphery of it. But to get a shout to go in, and the faith he shown in me to actually come in after not doing much rugby squad sessions, and there's loads of really good options that he could have called, and I was lucky enough that he called me and had a really good week in there. Trained quite well, and kind of the message is get back to Munster. Keep working. We need to see that accumulation of data in terms of your pitch sessions and what you're doing on a weekly basis. And then listen, it's just detaching from the outcome of being obsessed with going to a World Cup and being obsessed with something that's not in my control, and just focus on what I'm doing every day. The cards will fall where they fall, and that, I think, after plenty of experience and plenty of highs and lows, and not being able to be in that mental space, I'm now in that nice mental space where I know if it does come, that I'll be 100% ready, and I'll be a way better player than I was before I left. And I know if it doesn't come, then I've done everything that I could, and it just wasn't meant for me, and that's that.
And the last bit I just want to ask about, all things going to plan, excuse me, on Saturday, Keith Earls is going to be making his 100th Test appearance for Ireland against England this weekend. Obviously, someone you know very, very well down the years. What can you say about him? What can you say about? I'm sure he was a player a few years older than you, so you were an up and coming winger when he was making his breakthrough. You moved to Munster, you start playing together. What have you seen from him down the years, and what do you have to say about him as a teammate and as a person?
Yeah, like I can't speak highly enough of Keith. We've competed. I kind of say we've competed with each other as opposed to against each other for a long, long time. There's no one in rugby that I've worked closer with, for every day, picking each other's brains and doing things after the sessions, talking about the mental side of the game, talking about the journey that we're on. We've got a really, really special relationship, and he has had to dig so deep to get to where he is now. He's particularly these last kind of 3-4 years, where it's not all gone to plan for him in terms of his body, in terms of selection, and to be where he is at now and to have had the mental strength to dig in and to keep showing up every day and to now hopefully get the reward of 100 caps. There's no one that deserves it more. And, he's unbelievably popular across the country, and rightfully so. He's so endearing, and he's got this weird way about him that everyone, of all the people I come across in rugby, you never hear anyone say a bad word about him, and that's a special person, and for him to get there and get it in Dublin in front of the home crowd and his family, and I'm delighted for his family too, his wife and his kids and his parents and everyone in Limerick. It's a special one. It feels like it's a special one that Keith's got there, and I can't wait to see him. I hope he is an absolute stormer, and he deserves it.
Yeah, very well said. Andrew Conway, thanks a million for joining us on the podcast, and we hope to see you out playing again real soon.
Thank you very much. Cheers, Neil.